That US soccer game versus Paraguay made me believe in this US soccer team. I actually believe we could have a shot at winning this year's World Cup. Now, I don't follow soccer a whole lot. I basically only watch it whenever the US is playing in the World Cup, which has been like 3 times in my entire life because we missed it in 2018, which absolutely sucked and was an embarrassment. But I always love watching the United States play soccer. I could just never figure out like how all of the leagues and all of these clubs work. I know there's like the MLS in the United States, but it gets so confusing because you have players playing in all these different clubs. It's just I can't keep up with it all. But anyway, in that game that we just played, which was our first game of the group stage of the World Cup, we scored 4 goals, which I think was a record for the number of goals we've ever scored in a game in the World Cup. I know last time we played in 2022, we scored like 3 goals throughout 4 games or something like that, something ridiculous. So we are a much, much better team. And I think a lot of people are starting to pay attention to the United States as a soccer team. And I may be a little bit biased. I grew up actually playing soccer as a little kid. I played in like the AYSO leagues, where we didn't really know what was going on. We just went out and kicked the ball around. But that was always so much fun. I looked forward to that every week. Every Saturday morning, we would have a game and sometimes 2 games, and we'd just get to go out, run around, and play soccer. And it was a ton of fun. And so getting to watch the United States has always been a really special thing. It's just been that we haven't been that good. I remember watching us in the 2014 World Cup, and that memory is like etched into my brain. That's like an early childhood memory for me. My parents, my family, we didn't have cable, but we got cable specifically for that run that the United States made, just so we could watch some of those games. I remember we played very well for like the United States standards. We hadn't played that well in a World Cup in a long time. I think we drew Portugal, which had Ronaldo, which we should have beat them, but they scored like a last second goal or something. It's been a while since I watched that, so I can't really remember. But that was an insane game. And then we played against Belgium. We played them close because of Tim Howard, our goalkeeper, and then we just lost because they were a better team. But still, just making it that far, making it out of the group stages was a huge memory that I still remember to this day. And then I had to wait 4 years to watch them again in the World Cup, which like 4 years is an eternity for a kid. And I remember just one day seeing United States eliminated from 2018 World Cup. I didn't even know like we were playing to get into the World Cup. I just remember the first thing I saw was US eliminated World Cup. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. I waited, 4 years to watch this and we're not even going to make it. When we're one of the biggest countries in the world, and I think at that point 32 countries made it and we couldn't make it, and we lost to like Trinidad and Tobago. I didn't even know Trinidad and Tobago was a country. If you asked me to point out Trinidad and Tobago on a map, I have no clue. Somewhere in the Caribbean, maybe? Like it sounds like a Caribbean country. I have no clue where Trinidad and Tobago is. And they knocked us out of the World Cup. It was so sad to me. But then 4 years after that, so it had been 8 years since we last played in a World Cup. We got to play in the 2022 World Cup, and we made it out of the group stages. I think we drew England. I think that was like the big game of that World Cup, if I remember correctly. And then we lost to the Netherlands 3-1 because we kept giving up like the same goal over and over again because our defenders couldn't learn from their mistake. I think we gave up the same goal like 3 times. So it was ridiculous. But anyways, now the World Cup is back in the United States since the first time since 1934. And after last night, I have a lot of hope that the United States is really going to make a run in this World Cup. I think it would be awesome if we could, even if we could make it to like the round of 8, I guess I'd call it the quarterfinals. Because we've only ever really made it to the round of 16. I think we placed third at one point, like decades ago, like in the 40s or 50s or something, which I don't know how we did that and how we like fell off so hard in the decades after that. But after this game last night, I really think that we could make a run. And for me, my biggest takeaway from that game is just that we can score goals. Like that's the thing that throughout the past years when you watch this US team, we've never been able to score. If we win, we would win like 1-0 or something. Like it was took so much work just to get the ball into the back of the net. and we did it 4 times last night. It was just seeing even that last goal that really didn't even matter when it was like 97 minutes into the game and we were already up 3-1 and we're going to win, just to get an extra goal and pad the score a little bit, I think gave me so much hope and so much optimism for this US team. And I think a lot of people are just now starting to pay attention to the US soccer team because the World Cup is in the US, but also because we're actually decent now. We've taken the time and spent the money and the resources to try and build this team up. Last time in the World Cup, we had a lot of these same players, but they were so much younger. It was sort of a build up for this World Cup. And we got a new coach. We got, I think, some new pieces. We spent so much time trying to turn this team into a team that can actually compete with some of these European teams. And you saw that last night with Portugal, how we just, we were favorites against them, but we really destroyed them. I don't think anybody expected that that was going to happen. And even if you look at some of these first World Cup games like Mexico and South Africa, and what was it, Canada and I think Bosnia is who they played. These were like 1-0, 2-0 games. I mean, we had one of the most dominant wins out of all of the teams in this World Cup so far. And even the people in like these more traditional soccer countries are starting to, I think, notice it. I saw some comments from people who were like from England or something. They called us the Yanks. I'm not sure if like that's supposed to be an insult or like if they're coming after us. I don't know. But anyway, they were talking about how far the US has come and how the US could actually be a threat in this World Cup as we continue. Now, there were some people who were saying, like, oh, it's just Portugal, calm down. To them, I say, first of all, it's called soccer. You can call it football. Football makes more sense. Doesn't matter. It's called soccer. And we just beat Portugal and we drew England last World Cup. And, we're going to beat whatever team you put in front of us. So, first of all, I'm 100% on the Team USA bandwagon. But second of all, that is a game, even if it is just Portugal, even whatever, that is a game that we would not have won anywhere close to that dominant fashion like 4 years ago, even like 2, 3 years ago. I'm not sure if we would have won that. We are just getting so much better, so much faster. And I think that all of these people who want to come at us and say that, oh, that win doesn't really count or you didn't beat a very good team, it's copium. And they're just coping because they know that this US team could make a huge run deep into the tournament, if not winning the whole World Cup. And a lot of the reason that we're doing so much better is because of our coaching. We had a coach, I think his name was Klinsmann in the 2014 World Cup. And then, obviously we didn't make the 2018 World Cup. So see ya, buddy. He was gone. But then we had Greg Berhalter, who, if I'm correct, I'm not sure if I'm correct on this, but I think he was like an MLS coach, like an American coach. And so we've put like more resources, more energy into hiring these coaches from the European League and from these leagues that traditionally have just been a lot better than the United States and like know what they're doing when it comes to soccer. And so we got this guy, I had to look up his name, Mauricio Pochettino, who's from Argentina, which, if you know anything about soccer, Argentina is the best of the best that you could get for soccer coaches. But we brought him in, and I was just watching a video on like his tactical alignments and the way he attacks. And so it's a much more aggressive style of game than we've ever played in the past. And that's kind of what I was saying, is we're actually scoring more goals now and not just trying to win 1-0. And so what they were saying with that is you may give up more goals because you're just pushing all of your players like forward and just going on the attack. But that's what we need to do. I mean, we haven't been winning anyway. So if you are going to the World Cup, you are the United States, you've never won a World Cup, you're on your home soil, you need to be aggressive. If you want to go and win, you got to take risks and you got to be aggressive. So I mean, I love this guy. This guy I think is, going to be much better for us than any of the past coaches that we've had who just want to play defensive soccer and sit back on our heels and hope that we can win a close game. This guy I think is great. I think what we saw from last night is just a testament to how good he is and how aggressive he's willing to be in attacking. So I am totally 100% on Team USA. I am ready to go win this World Cup and bring back the first World Cup win that we have ever had. We've never had one. We got to win one. This would be the perfect place to do it. on our home soil. We'd get so many people interested, excited about U.S. soccer if we could do it. It would be huge for us. So, anyways, that's just my take. Thank you guys for watching the video, and I'll see you guys next time.